Welcome to another edition of Talk City Greensboro, produced by GTN, featuring interviews and events happening around town. It's an easy way to stay in the know while you're on the go. Subscribe to Talk City on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or SoundCloud so you can keep up with what's going on in Greensboro City government. I'm your host, Josh Johnson, and as always, with me around the big round table, Rosemary Plyman. How you doing?
Always glad to be here. Yes. UNC Greensboro's Office of Sustainability is calling for collective action from employees, students, and alumni to help reduce the university's carbon footprint and really improve housing conditions for Guilford County residents. And it's all due to the new Spartan DRIVE Fund, and that's all in caps. DRIVE. With us today, Sean MacInnes, Sustainability Specialist with UNCG's Office of Sustainability, and Cheryl Brandberg, Development Director with Community Housing Solutions, which is partnering with UNCG. Hello, and thank you for being here.
Welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having.
So, Sean, quickly, kind of give us an overview of UNCG's carbon footprint and how the Spartan DRIVE Fund helps reduce it.
Well, Rosemary, drivers reducing individual vehicle emissions is the acronym.
Right.
And we have three major contributors to our carbon footprint. Scope 1, 2, and 3 emissions. Scope 1 is the fuels we burn on campus, so our natural gas and other combustion fuels like gasoline and diesel.
Right.
Refrigerants are also in that. Scope 2 emissions are the electricity that we purchase from Duke Energy.
Okay.
And then Scope 3 emissions, which we're trying to offset, are from activities that occur because of business as usual, but aren't under our control really. So that's people commuting to campus, air travel related to work and stuff like that. And so what the DRIVE Fund is doing is we're asking employees, students, and alumni to offset their emissions from driving to campus. Everybody, on average, is responsible for about 1 ton of CO2 emissions from driving to and from campus. Overall, we have our footprint is about 66,000 tons last year of CO2 emissions. So commuting accounts for about a third of that. About 20. It varies. It's about 20%. So not quite a third. But we're going to invest that money onto campus with energy efficiency projects to, kind of manage our own carbon footprint. And then we're donating 10% of the funds to Community Housing Solutions to help with their initiatives, and particularly their weatherization program.
Fantastic.
And Cheryl can tell you all about that.
Yeah, so Cheryl, jump in here now. So tell us, what does Community Housing Solutions do, and tell me about this partnership.
Sure, Rosemary. So we are a small local nonprofit organization. We provide critical home repairs to low-income homeowners that make their homes warmer, drier, and safer. So we're not doing things for cosmetic purposes. We're not HGTV, but we're doing things to allow these folks to live longer and safer in their homes.
And more sustainably.
Exactly. We are finding that if we can air seal the home, add some insulation, replace heating systems that aren't working or are inefficient, that we can save these folks 25% or $600 to $700 a year.
Wow.
Which for someone who's on a fixed income, that is can be life-changing.
Real money. What does it take? What is the cost to do that?
So our average home repair costs are about $7,500 per home. We have a small team, and we utilize volunteers to help us complete repairs, and that keeps our costs down. And that's where UNCG will come into play as well, providing some volunteers for us.
And how did you kind of get partnered up? How did that partnership happen?
Well, Community Housing Solutions has partnered with UNCG on a number of different initiatives. The CEO of Community Housing Solutions has come and given talks at UNCG about their program and stuff. And so, they're doing great work in the community. And so, we're also very interested in their volunteer program. There are other agencies that are doing weatherization work in the Triad area, but Community Housing Solutions is the only one that I know of that has a volunteer aspect to it. And service is a big, important part of UNCG's mission to the community, and so that's. And I'll talk a little bit more about what a carbon offset means, and there are co-benefits to reporting emissions and stuff like that are part of community service and social justice and stuff like that. Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, does that, I mean, I was going to ask you what makes the Spartan Drive different from a traditional carbon offset program. You may have already answered that.
Well, not much, honestly. So a carbon offset is basically we're looking at emissions that are made somewhere and we're going to reduce them somewhere else.
Okay.
So the emissions are coming from vehicles, but we're going to reduce the emissions from our electricity consumption on campus. Traditional offsets, we would be buying those and sending that money off campus. So we'd go through a partner like Sterling Planet or something like that, and we would only be able to the offsets are only for the year that they're generated.
Okay.
So we send $10,000. We only offset about 1% of our emissions. We send $10,000 the next year. That's only 1% of our emissions.
Right.
It doesn't snowball. But if we do it on campus, so this is the difference. If we do it on campus, those are permanent and they're going to happen in perpetuity, and we'll keep being able to save those emissions over time. So it will snowball through the reductions on campus. Some of the a carbon offset basically has to meet some criteria. It has to be a permanent solution. It has to have it has to be what they call additional, which means it wouldn't have happened otherwise without business as usual.
Gotcha. Yeah.
It has to be verifiable. So there are third-party companies that offset these emissions, like the Gold Standard and Vera are a few of them. But they've also kind of come into some controversy. It's very hard to make sure that you're actually offsetting your emissions through the projects they have, particularly around planting trees. You can do research and learn about how some of these are not proving to actually be saving carbon emissions, and then they have to be enforceable. So, which basically means that somebody comes and looks and verifies them.
Right, verifies.
And then they have to have co-benefits. And that really means that there are social justice issues and economic issues. It's kind of that whole people, planet, profit thing.
Yeah.
The triple bottom line.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're going to volunteer and help with community housing solutions. People who live, BIPOC populations, minority communities, people who, have low incomes, particularly below the poverty line, they're the least responsible for carbon emissions. They're generating the less, but they're impacted the most. And so they're facing a disproportionate challenge when it comes to, dealing with the issues of climate change. And Cheryl can talk about, they also have a great diversity, equity, and inclusion mission within their company. But, I'll end there.
Well, let's kind of jump into that then, and let's talk about first talk about the volunteers, because who are the volunteers? What kind of skill set are you looking for? Who can volunteer, and why is this a good fit with UNCG and having those that manpower and that marketing power really that the university can bring to it?
Sure. So as I said, we are a small but mighty team. We only have 4 construction leaders on staff. We have a full staff of 8. Right. 4 are construction leaders. So these guys are skilled in carpentry type skills. They're BPI trained. They're CAP certified aging in place specialist, and to complete our 150 home repairs a year, which is our goal, we need the help of volunteers. So we engage between 700 and 800 volunteers a year to complete our mission. And that's where UNCG is going to play a huge role. Our volunteers come from local universities. They come from corporations, civic groups, church groups. We do have a weekday volunteer team that comes out as well. They can choose to come out on a Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday. For the most part, they're retired folks that come and give of their time on those days. And then we work with groups for the most part after that. So it makes our work, the impact is very tangible for these volunteers. They can see and experience right then and there, the improvement they've made for someone's life. These folks come to us, some with skills, some with no skills at all. So no experience is necessary. Our guys are there to provide all the knowledge, the materials and supplies that are needed to complete the project.
Oh, that's great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you maybe come with no skills, but you leave with skills.
Absolutely.
And you leave with this, like, having this sense of purpose that you've really done something tangible to help somebody. Do you get to meet sometimes the people whom you're helping?
Yes, and I think that's what makes our volunteer experience so special.
Nice.
They get to interact with the homeowner and see what real issues they have been experiencing. When you think about energy efficiency repairs, which is kind of the focus with this partnership, since we're looking at reducing energy. A lot of these folks are heating their homes with their stoves. They're opening their stove because they don't have a functioning heating system.
Yeah.
So it really is eye-opening to our volunteers when they come out and serve and see what some of our neighbors are the conditions they're living in.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sean, I think we've kind of spoken to it, but other than environmental benefits, give us another look at the social benefits that are associated with these projects.
Cheryl hinted at it, and the reason why we're focusing on campus isn't just to reduce our energy consumption and save us money, but having great indoor environmental qualities, healthy working environment, healthy studying environment, healthy living environment. Makes people happier, right?
Absolutely.
For our students, it improves their learning outcomes. Productivity is not the end all be all, but when you want to have a nice place to go work,
sure,
and that does make you makes you happier, makes you more involved and engaged in your place of employment. And the same thing it goes for people living at your house. If you're heating your house with your stove, that is not a happy situation to be in, right? So we're looking at improving personal well-being with these projects as well. And that, I think that's probably the most important part of this aspect, honestly.
Well, and then really being a leader, and so that people see this at work or at school, and then they take it into their own lives, and when they have their own home, or if they're working, when they go back home, and they can use some of this knowledge that they're seeing and see how it's affecting them at work, and this, hey, we can expand this.
Yeah, part of the mission of my office in particular is to use campus as a living laboratory. So students we have a program called the Green Fund, and it's a grant program on campus, and students can come and apply for a grant to implement a sustainability project, and they get a learning outcome that way that's kind of outside of the classroom. And the same thing is going to be happening with our partnership with Community Housing Solutions. They're going to get to go to these homes, they're going to get to work on energy efficient projects, they're going to start learning about sustainability, about the impacts of the built environment on our well-being, and that's going to be another learning experience, like Rosemary said, some job skills and
absolutely
that they're going to learn as well. And that's a big part of this, is providing these kind of opportunities for our students.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Hey, before we go, I do want to mention the City of Greensboro has an Office of Sustainability. Dr. Sri Dorset wanted to give us a statement about the program. She says this is such a smart initiative to engage not only the student body at UNCG, but also the faculty and the staff and alumni. We need more climate action and responsibility like this all over Greensboro. So we thank her for the work she is doing. If you want to know more about the program at UNCG at the Office of Sustainability, visit sustainability.uncg.edu. And to learn more about community housing solutions, visit chshousing.org. Thank you so much for being with us today. Really appreciate your time.
We really appreciate you being here. Stay tuned in weekly by subscribing to Talk City Greensboro on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. And don't forget, you can download Talk City from SoundCloud.
That is our time for this week. Thanks so much for tuning in. If you like what you hear, please share it with a friend. Hey, be sure to watch GTN, your official source for news and information about the city of Greensboro. GTN is available on Spectrum Channel 13,
AT&T UVerse Channel 99,
and Lumos Channel 31.
GTN also streams live on Roku and the city's website
at greensboro-nc.gov.